What's good, family? Children is live. What's going on here? Children is live. What's good, family? Okay. Seems to be something wrong with my camera. I'm not sure what's going on here. What's going on here? Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and share the stream with my group. Excuse to do this. I cannot. Okay, let's see. Share. Please join me if you may. All right. Right. So Chief John is live. Today is the 13th of March, 2019. I'm here again with yet another live stream. It's currently 8:32 p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia. It's been a reasonably cold day. I would say it's been a cold day today. Because I woke up to 80 degrees, and that's very cold. That's very cold for autumn. I mean, first week of autumn in Melbourne. That's quite cold. And but it should warm up a bit on towards the weekend. So bizarre news coming out of Australia. Cardinal George Pell goes to jail. Yeah. For some reason I cannot. Okay, so my camera is not working. Turn on camera. Bravo. So you can see me now. Good evening from Melbourne, Australia to wherever you are. You guys in the Western Hemisphere, you should be early morning for you guys. But yeah, Wednesday the 13th of March, my day is already over. I am getting ready for bed to begin a new day. But yesterday was Mauritius' 51st anniversary of their independence from Britain. If you study the history of Mauritius, it's a tiny island about 40 kilometers wide and 60 kilometers north to south. And the British and the French fought a bloody war over this tiny island. Okay, but Mauritius gained independence in 1968 after Ghana got her independence in 1957 through the efforts of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, inspiring all the African countries to gain independence as well. So yeah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you know, the liberation of Africa is owed greatly to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his vision of Africa, his vision of Pan-Africanism, and the unification of all African countries into states, forming the United States of Africa, going into the future. So yeah, I'm here again with another controversial news topic. You know, I will only make these streams or give my 2 cents when it relates to our people, when it relates to our black family. Okay, here in Australia, you know, the Europeans did the same thing. Okay, they did it to Africa, and then they did it throughout the world to all indigenous people of the planet, especially black people. You know, uh, it's very interesting that black people worldwide resided in the southern hemisphere. Okay, the southern hemisphere always was warm. Southern hemisphere has always been quite warm. The glacial period did not affect much the southern hemisphere, so the black family were quite comfortable in the south. So, i.e., you know, Africa, you know, the name Africa literally means a place without cold, you know, a warm place. Okay, that's Africa. I think that's the archipelago. That's the meaning of archipelago, a place without cold. Okay, a warm place, and Australia similar to that. Throughout the Pacific. Okay, these are all black people. All right, but what Christianity and religion has done to our people, okay, it's inexcusable. Um, I don't know which word to use to describe it, but it has been so detrimental to our people or to the black family worldwide. Okay, Christianity and religion has, above all else, mentally enslaved black people throughout the world. And excuse to have a drink. In 2019, to bluntly put it, okay, if you're waiting for a return of a Messiah from the sky, please, you need to really, really check your reality. You need to check your psyche. I don't want to use the word intelligence, but I'm really surprised. It intrigues me that there are scientists that are so bent on proving the existence of God and using all forms of theories describing God as an intelligent being with reference to nature, how intricate nature is, but attributing the intricacy of nature to a divine creator. It's really mind baffling. Okay, but none of these scientists can actually factually prove the existence of God. None of them can do that, right? But this topic here, okay, is important for our family, especially Africa. When Africa is liberated, and then Africans, the liberation now is the liberation of the mind. I've been saying this, right? 2019 is the liberation of the black mind, and thank God for the internet, right? The internet has made it so that knowledge is so abound. Okay, if you choose to be ignorant in 2019, when you can easily access knowledge by just typing in few keywords into Google. Okay, if you refuse to be that dumb, then you just doomed to perish. Okay, you doomed to perish, and even the Bible says that my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. And I don't know who wrote the Bible at the time, but it's not even knowledge. Knowledge is so abound now, but it's just ignorance. And I was trying not to offend people on O'Shea's show, that when I said a whole bunch of African Americans in the United States are the most ignorant black people on this planet. Right? Ignorance basically means you're just foolish. Okay, you don't consider reality at all. Okay, and that's what ignorance is. So an ignorant person can be equated to a fool, right? Hi, Sister M. Thanks for joining the stream. Are you up late? How come? Now, the God deception, the title of my stream tonight. I'm not going to take you down the history of the Roman Catholic Church, but just a brief introduction to it, right? The whole Bible was written in the time of Emperor Constantine of Rome. Okay, in modern day Turkey, Constantinople. Okay, because people have found a new faith. Okay, called Christianity. Okay, and they are becoming rebels to the Roman Empire. Okay. Pornhub, not too nasty, you asked. I'm trying to preach here, Sister M. I'm trying to preach here. All right, so keep the devil out, please. Yeah, so the God deception, right? In order for the emperor of Rome to control the rebels, okay, he incorporated Christianity into the Roman Empire. Thus, you have in the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so when you look at the history, a few years ago, there's this documentary. I'm pretty sure you can find it still on YouTube. It's called the Zeitgeist Movement. Okay, the Zeitgeist is German. So Geist is ghost, and Zeit is sort of like the movement. So it's kind of like this movement of the spirit. Okay, that's my interpretation of it. But the Zeitgeist movement, okay, exposed what Christianity actually is. Okay, and we know this. If you are of African descent, you know that the origins of Christianity, all the world's religions, okay, even Buddhism, all came from Africa via Egypt, which is the gateway to Africa from the east. Okay, they basically stole everything out of Egypt and Europeanized everything and sold it back to Africans. And because these are our spirituality, these are our ways of life. Okay, Africans just bought it. Okay, and Desmond Tutu, I think Archbishop Desmond Tutu made a statement that the European came with his Bible, okay, taught us his Bible, asked us to close our eyes and pray, okay. When we open our eyes, we ended up with a Bible, and the European ended up with the land. Okay, this is what has happened. This is the deception of God, the God deception. The only God I know, okay, is my mother and my father, which is the core of the African spirituality. Okay, the core of the African spiritual system. A female and a masculine energy coming together to give life. That is the Africans' way of God. Okay, and the Egyptians described it perfectly. Describe it perfectly. So when the Europeans came by means of the Greeks in 330 BC, when they got into contact with Africans, okay, they got all the spirituality, even the language, they got it from Africa. They got everything out of Africa. Okay, and they twisted it and they brought it back to us. And then we bought it. Or our ancestors bought it just because it's got a white face on it. So it's just sweet news for me today, turning on the news and seeing that Cardinal George Pell has been sentenced to 6 years in jail. And I'm going to read a little bit of the history of Cardinal George Pell and the news article, and we shall deal with this. Okay, in 2019, if you are expecting that someone will come from the sky, okay, we've sent probes beyond Pluto. Okay, so there's no God in sight. Recently, China just sent a mission to the moon, to the dark side of the moon. God is not on the moon. Before they say, oh, God wasn't on the clouds because humans couldn't get there. Okay, but the Egyptians knew, the Egyptian understood that they were physical representation of God. God, we are gods. Even the Bible tells you that we are gods. But who would miseducate people that there's some divine spiritual being in the sky somewhere, in the cosmos somewhere, that will punish you if you do evil? But mind you, a lot of these religious rhetoric, right? People created God. God would never exist without human beings. People created God. Okay, and this is what I say. People say, "Oh, God asked me to do it." If God was that powerful, if God was so omnipresent, all powerful, why couldn't He do it Himself? Why does every action that God has to do come through a human being? Come through the thought process of a human being? It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. So these religious people out there, please explain this to me, right? And then Dr. Mimbi did a show on this African pastor doing a fake resurrection of a fake dead person. Okay, and it's gone viral throughout Africa. Okay, and there are people that have bought it. People that have bought into it, thinking it's true. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So not until we liberate ourselves from this form of slavery, which is mental slavery, Okay, we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere. Islam and Christianity, these two religions, have equally destroyed Africa, so as colonialism and everything else, tribalism and everything else. So the issues in Africa is so deep. It's so deep. Okay, and the only way we can tackle these kind of issues in Africa is to going back to our African spirituality. Okay, and spirituality is all about knowing yourself, knowing who you are. Okay, if you know who you are the most spiritual person. Okay, being in tune with yourself, knowing that you are God. Okay, you are the only person that can decide your own fate. Okay, you can choose to do whatever you want to do at any given moment. Okay, and you can do it. No one can stop you. Okay. That makes you God. You can procreate. You can create life. That makes you a divine person. That makes you God. So yeah, it's not until we let go of the Europeans or the foreign definition of what God is, okay, Africa will remain enslaved. Okay? Even if we free ourselves from the shackles or the control of the capitalism of the Western world, where even when Africans control their own affairs, if we still have this European mindset of religion or the Asian mindset of religion, okay, we are still enslaved as a people. So this bizarre news article coming out of Australia further puts a trench or divide into Christianity, into religion. It further destroys the concept of God, the existence of God, the existence of any supernatural power. Okay, and the notion that there is an existence of God. So without much ado, I am going to read this articles, and we should talk about it. But I've given my 2 cents. I wouldn't say I'm not an atheist. I don't subscribe to any of these terms. I'm not atheist. I am not. I am spiritual because I know myself. I know that I am God. Okay. I am God. I am in charge of my life. I am in charge of everything that I do. Everything that I do is based on my own personal decision. Nobody does it for me. I choose to do whatever I want to do, and I'm not bound to any sort of religion. An intelligent person always knows what to do and is not being told by some abstract thinking of some spiritual supernatural entity somewhere that you cannot point out where it is, that always does things through people. I call it BS, epic BS. Okay, epic BS. Anyway, so I'm not gonna go on a rant here how I feel about religion, but I actually think that above everything else that has been so detrimental to Black people, okay, religion has to be the number one. Okay, religion has to be the number one thing that has really destroyed Black people, really destroyed the minds of African people or Black people worldwide, so much that excuse me, people from the Pacific, our black family in the Pacific are one of the most religious people you can ever find. But they've so much forgotten where this religion came from. They dare not question anything. Like they're just sheep at this point. They don't question anything. They just believe. Okay. And in 2019, who wants to believe when you can know? Why why do you want to believe? I believe it's going to be tomorrow. I know it's going to be tomorrow in a few hours. I don't believe it. I know it. It's a fact. I know the sun is going to rise tomorrow. It's a fact. I don't believe it. Okay. I don't know Jesus rose from the dead. I don't know Jesus was nailed to the cross. I will not believe it. I want to know. I don't want to believe that Muhammad is a prophet of God. I want to know. And since I wasn't there, I don't know. I don't know. There's no facts. Okay. And one thing about being scientific minded is that everything has to be scientifically proven by methods and research, theories. Okay. Facts. But there's no fact on God at all. Absolutely no fact. You cannot prove God. I.e., we have probes all the way beyond Pluto. There's no God in sight. There's no God in sight. So yeah. Cardigan Flynn. Peace to you, family. Thank you for joining the stream. I am very, very appalled. Okay. 2019, the Catholic Church. Okay. This is further put a trench in the Catholic faith. Okay, it's put a division in a Catholic family. Christianity has once again been proven as flawed, and 2019 belief is no longer a valid reason for Christianity or to prove the existence of an entity somewhere in the cosmos that will punish you if you do wrong. It's called nature. Okay, it's called nature. Everything goes back to nature. And the cycle of life continues. That's what it is. So I'm going to have a few articles here that I'm going to read of Cardinal George Pell. I don't want to go on too much of a rant here. There's so much that I can say about religion, especially Christianity. Islam itself, is flawed. Okay, Islam is flawed. Back in the day, I used to listen to this brother by the name Anke Kek, who's called a God killer. He paints the best analogy, saying that Christianity, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are consider them in a building. Okay, and you have Judaism as the foundation of these two other religions. Okay, when you break the foundation of Judaism, okay, both Christianity and Islam have no footing. Okay, they've got no bearings anymore. They all fall to the ground. Okay, so if you destroy the concept of God, okay, Christianity and Islam have no place at all. Have no place at all in our lives in 2019. Okay, and I'm gonna read. If you don't believe, again, I hate the word believe. Okay, believe in my interpretation. Believe. Okay, you make it happen. That's the meaning of believe. You make it happen. So if you can choose to not make it happen, it will not happen. Okay, and this gives you ultimate power, God status. We are gods. Okay? We are gods. Anyway, so I'm really disappointed by what's happened in Australia. The Catholic Church is ever in decline. When you look at the population of Australia with 25 million people, the percentage of people that claim to be Christian, you would probably get about 60% of people that would say they're Christians. But out of the 60%, roughly only 5% go to church, or actually follow what the religion teaches. Okay, and you can best believe there's only about 1% Muslims in Australia, and the rest of the population are either agnostic or unaffiliated to any sort of religion. So you would be surprised. Let me set Christianity in Australia. Okay, and I'll be sharing my screen in a minute. Wikipedia. So Christianity in Australia. Okay. They did a survey I think a couple of years ago, and they only found about 5% of the population actually go to church. Okay, and even less than that. So as time goes on, okay, people are leaving God behind. People are leaving God behind, and situations like these, okay, when you have a pedophile priest, okay, it destroys the concept of God. Destroys the concept of God. Yeah. So without much ado, I'm going to read my article. I'm going to share my screen, and we shall go on from there. So present to everyone. Yeah, so welcome to the stream, whoever just joined. Cardigan, Flynn. Yeah. So brazen and colors. Okay. Pell gets 6 years jail for child sexual abuse. Okay, and you know, child molestation and abuse has been going on in the Catholic Church or in the church period for so long, a very, very long time. Okay, a very, very, very long time, and homosexuality, okay, is a Greek. How do I say? It's part of the Greek society. Pedophilia and homosexuality. Throughout history, you would see that the Greeks were very known for homosexuality. Okay, so when the Greeks came to Africa, they took the concept of God, okay, but then they had to make sure that they mix it with their traditions, their homosexual traditions, their pedophilia traditions. Facts. This is facts. When you go into the history of ancient Greece, okay, this is what they used to do before they got into contact with Africa. Okay. And the history of Greece goes a long time. It goes a long way. But we're talking about 330 BC. Okay, the modern Greek civilization. Okay. That came, so quote unquote, the Northern European coming into contact with the Africans in Southern Europe and taking over the African civilizations in Southern Europe, and then bringing with them their homosexual practices and distorting the African righteous way of life. Okay. Homosexuality is frowned upon in Africa, wherever you go. Okay. By far, I think the only religion that somewhat accurately represents African way of life is Islam, because Islam originated from Africa. If you want to say Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia is part of Africa. Okay, Africans live in Saudi Arabia. Okay, but over time, that religion has been compromised as well, being that the so-called Prophet Muhammad got his teachings from Judaism and Christianity. So Islam incorporated African traditions with Judaism and Christianity. That's why you have your modern Islam. So it's distorted the African spirituality. And in Africa, okay, homosexuality is frowned upon. Homosexuality is frowned upon. So yeah, this what's happening here. Okay, this article is from the Telegraph. Okay, in Australia. Okay, Pell gets 6 years jail for child sexual abuse. By Adam Cooper and Paul Sakal, March the 13th, 2019. Okay, 11 a.m. So Cardinal George Pell has been jailed. So he was in. I might read it through the article. Okay, he was in the Vatican, and when these allegations came up against him, for the longest they've been trying to jail him, but he keeps getting away. Okay, he keeps getting away and escaping. But it was just too much. Okay, the allegations just got too much. As of last year, he had to be sent back from the Vatican to face charges in Australia. Okay, to face charges. So this is not an isolated case. Okay, this has been happening throughout the world. Okay, you have beautiful nuns, okay, in the parish or wherever, but these men choose to molest children, boys. How sickening is that? Okay, this is so sickening. This is the face of Christianity, not some abstract Jesus coming down the sky. Okay, this here is the face of Christianity, or the Europeans' way of spirituality. Okay, which is a Greek practice. Okay. Homosexuality and pedophilia is a Greek way of life. Okay, so they stole the African religions, convoluted it. Okay, convoluted it, mixed it up with their false teachings and way of life. Okay, and sold it back to Africans, and Africans bought it. Okay, and I know a lot of these Africans. My mother is one. My mother loves to go to church. I stopped going to church a long time ago. Okay, a long time ago when I decided that, to a point I used to go to church to impress my mom, but I got to a point where I was like, enough of this BS. Okay. For an intelligent mind, what am I doing here? Sitting down and being taught by someone, okay, and making me feel more docile. Okay. I cannot have that. I cannot have that. And majority of people in the church are so docile. They are like sheep. They just want to be taught. Okay. And they never read the Bible. They never read the Bible to see exactly what's in there. Okay. And I have read the Bible. I have read it countless number of times. Okay. And I see what's in the Bible. It just doesn't make sense at all. It just doesn't make sense at all. Even if it does make sense at some places, it's just mind control to keep people as sheeples. Okay, sheeples. A few of the churches I've been to, like a few, like white churches in Australia, I could sort of vibe with some of the message being preached, but it's trust me, it's so bad in African churches, so bad. The African churches is so bad. Okay, slaves are born in the African churches. Trust me. That's where slaves were made, in a church. Slaves obey your masters. This is what the pastors preach to black people. Your redemption is in heaven. Your reward is in heaven. Build your mansions in heaven. Don't build it here on earth. Build it in heaven. Okay. When there are people making riches off you, you are giving all your money to the pastors. The pastors are buying private jets, mansions in the name of God. They're living lavishly, having 4, 5, 6 G5s, landing strips in their houses, and you are giving your last dime in church. Oh my goodness. I could go on, but it's not my intention for the night. But I'll let this article speak for itself, okay? So Cardinal George Pell has been jailed for 6 years for sexual assaulting two choir boys, crimes a judge has described as brazen, opportunistic, and callous, offending against two powerless young boys. Pell, 77, must serve 3 years and 8 months in prison before he is eligible for parole after he was last year found guilty of orally raping one boy and molesting the other at St. Patrick's Cathedral in East Melbourne in 1996 and 1997. So this is going back 21 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago. Okay, so this guy has been evading prosecution and been hiding in the Vatican, but people have just had enough. Okay, the allegations are just way too much. They had to bring him back home. Okay, and today he was found guilty and sentenced to jail. Hiccups. You may not live to be released from prison, County Court Chief Judge Peter Kidd said as he sentenced Pell. Pell will also be registered as a sex offender for the rest of his life. The Cardinal's sexual offending involved physical aggression and venom and displayed staggering arrogance by a man in a position of immense power who preyed on the most vulnerable. Pell's sentence, so these are useless words. Okay, call it what it is. Okay, they're just hiding behind Christianity and doing evil things. Okay, this is what they're doing. Again, the whole idea of us human beings is to procreate. No matter what you think, okay, we are here to procreate, die, and life goes on. That is it. Okay, that is the basic principle of nature. Born, reproduce, die, move on. Okay. This is it. Basically, this is what life is. Okay. But humans have complicated the existence of life, okay, or the reality of life by giving themselves these kind of, and I know the Egyptians did it. The Egyptians reached the apex of human, you know, intellectual capabilities. Ancient Egyptians did that to the point where they're able to to travel or traverse the stars with their mind. So they were teleporting, you know. It got to a point where they were doing things with their mind, no longer with their physical bodies. Okay, this is where they saw themselves as gods. Okay, getting to the God prowesses, okay, God powers. Okay. The Egyptians did that. But what did the Europeans do? They got to Egypt, stole everything, and then made a mess out of it. And then this is what you have now. They can't do away with the nature, their nature of pedophilia and homosexuality. They can't do away with it. Okay. So yeah, they trying to explain it here using bizarre words, but not calling a spade, a shovel a shovel. Okay. Christianity is just meaningless when you have these people here representing it. These people representing it, and it's just there's so much, okay, that has not been uncovered, it's all unearthed. There's so much, okay. When you the only basic principle of life is reproduction, okay, and then you choose to deny yourself that, responsibility of reproducing, and you want to be a celibate. Okay. But then behind closed doors, you're molesting little kids. Okay. Because you cannot hide from who you are. You cannot hide from your sexual urges. Okay. But you try to take it onto innocent kids, little boys. And you know what? There are nuns that you could take it to, but you don't prefer the nuns. You don't prefer the women. You prefer little boys. Sexually assaulting little boys. That's what you do. Anyway, one of my favorite movies that I saw was called Sinful Nuns. Elm City, I don't know if you're still here, but you would have seen it. Talking about Pornhub before, you were talking about Pornhub. You would have seen Sinful Nuns. Okay, very, very interesting movie. Okay, very interesting movie. It's a very old movie, but very, very interesting movie. Very eye-opening. Anyway, I'll continue with this article. Okay, Pell's sentence on Wednesday means the former Vatican treasurer and papal advisor to is the most senior Catholic Church official jailed for child sex crimes. Okay, so this is a record here. Okay. Judge Peter Kidd allowed the sentence to be broadcast live by media, given the enormous public significance. So I'm pretty sure this has sent a shockwave through the Vatican. Okay, they think they are untouchable. Okay, but this has blown the lid off Christianity at this point. It's blown the lid off it, especially the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is done for, and if the Catholic Church is done for, Christianity is done. Okay, Christianity is done. Brother Onyx Stallion, thanks for joining the stream. Where is the surviving the Catholic Church documentary? It will be 12 hours long. Oh my God. Where's the surviving the Catholic Church documentary? Oh, are you gonna do that? Are you gonna make that documentary? It will be 12 hours long. I don't intend to make this 12 hours. At best, an hour and a bit. Okay, but this topic here is so deep. Okay, this is mental slavery at best. Religion. As much as Black people, we want to be free. Okay, if we do not get rid of religion, we're going nowhere. We are going nowhere. We need to get back to our former spirituality. Okay, know thyself, and that's spirituality. Okay, if you know yourself, you are the most spiritual person. Okay, because you are God and God resides in you. Basically, that is what it is. So Judge Peter Kidd allowed the sentence to be broadcast by media given the enormous public significance. In his sentencing remarks, Judge Kidd said Pell acted with callous indifference. It was by no means a minor indecent act, Judge Kidd said. At some point in the episode, you even told your victims to be quiet because they were crying. There was ample time for you to both reflect and stop. Your conduct was permeated by staggering arrogance. Your moral culpability in both acts was high. The brazenness of your conduct is indicative of your sense of power. The brazenness of your conduct is indicative of your sense of power. So this is Chief Judge Peter Kidd. Okay, these are his statements, or those were his statements. Pell's time in custody will be spent in protection. The judge said, "This man doesn't need protection." The judge said, "And be more onerous given his age, profile, and notoriety of his crimes. Notoriety of his crimes. Your situation, Cardinal Pell, is somewhat unique," he said. "How unique is that?" Upon delivering his sentence, Judge Kidd asked Pell to sign the sex offenders register. Pell did so quietly with assistance of a clerk. Tears cold. I think this is a typo here. Tears could be heard in the back row of the courtroom as Pell's tally of prison sentences was read out. Pell bowed to the judge and exited the courtroom at 11:12 a.m. Judge Kidd said he imposed a shorter non-parole period than otherwise due to Pell's age in order to increase the prospect of you living out the last part of your life in the community. So this is the BS, right? This guy has actually sexually assaulted so many people, so many kids. Okay, proven facts. Okay, and then you have a kangaroo court with Bill Cosby, where there was no evidence at all, no evidence, absolutely no evidence against Bill Cosby other than his own words. Jailing Bill Cosby 10 years for giving drug to a lady who was actually obviously on drugs, who actually wanted the drugs. Okay, have been in a consensual relationship with Cosby, taking drugs and having sex. Okay, and Cosby at the age of 80, how old was Cosby again? 81 years old. Okay, and Cosby being sentenced to 10 years in jail, and this man here molesting little kids, sexually assaulting little kids orally, okay, right, and get 6 years in jail. How fair is that? Where's the justice? Let a black man do this. Let this be a black man. Okay, let this be a black man. All right. Well, I'll read on. So so Judge Kidd said he imposed a shorter non-parole period than otherwise due to Pell's age in order to increase the prospect of you living out the last part of your life in the community. This is really sad that they did that to Cosby, and this guy with ample evidence, overwhelming evidence, getting only 6 years and having the consideration of living out the last of his part of his life in the community. They gave him the human dignity to live. So he's going to come out at the age of 83. Okay. After 3 years, actually after 3 years, he could apply for parole, and he could be out in 3 years. At the age of 80, Cardinal George Pell will be out of prison. Okay. But none of these considerations was given to Bill Cosby. So Dagger Squad, oh my God, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dagger Squad? Mic check. So Dagger Squad, oh my God, can you hear me? I think my sound is perfectly fine. There must be something wrong with your device, Dagger Squad. But thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, check your equipment. I think my sound is good. So yeah, this is really bizarre news coming out of Australia today, the 13th of March. Okay, this has blown the lid off Christianity once again. Okay, this has blown the lid off Christianity once again. So Pell's crimes. In December 1996, Pell attacked the two choir boys in a room in St. Patrick's Cathedral in East Melbourne after a Sunday Mass. Pell was then the Archbishop of Melbourne. So Melbourne is a city in Australia, which I live in. I live in Melbourne. So loading. Pell found the boys in the room after they had sneaked behind into the cathedral from a procession outside and were swinging from a bottle of sacramental wine. Sacramental wine is another. There's another word for sacramental wine is Jesus juice. Jesus juice. This is how we call it here in Australia. Jesus juice. All right. Jesus juice. So yeah. Cardinal Pell found the boys in the room after they had sneaked back into the cathedral from a procession outside were swinging from a bottle of sacramental wine. With the door to the room open and still wearing his robes, Pell sexually molested one boy. He moved to the other and repeatedly sexually assaulted him. With both assaults took place while the boys were struggling and flailing their arms. The boys were crying and sobbing. At one point, Pell told the boys to be quiet. Early in 1997, again inside the cathedral and after a Sunday Mass, Pell shoved the second boy against a wall and squeezed his genitals. A grave breach of trust. Judge Kidd said Pell made a reasoned decision, albeit perverted, even if a perverted one, albeit, to commit the sexual act. He added Pell might have made the breathtakingly arrogant decision to commit the act on the assumption his authority as Archbishop meant he would get away with it. So again, no. Judge, you're wrong. Okay, it's not arrogance. Okay, it's sickness. It's called mental sickness or illness, or at best, okay, it's a tradition. Okay, it's part of the ancient Greek civilization way of life. Pedophilia, okay, throughout the Roman Catholic Church is nothing more than the hijacking of African spiritual systems, okay, mixed with European ways of life. Okay, This is what it is. Pedophilia, homosexuality is not arrogance. Okay. It's simply tradition which has been continued throughout the history of the Catholic Church. Okay. Mister, don't be so ignorant. Learn something new, Mr. Judge. So yeah, Chief Judge Peter Kidd, Melbourne County Court. Okay, so he presided over the conviction of Cardinal Pell today. Okay, Judge Pell said Pell's attacks on the two boys in the sacristy were opportunistic, sexually graphic, and continued even though both boys were visibly and audibly distressed. There is an added layer of degradation and humiliation. Each boy endured, the judge said, because they witnessed each other being used. The second incident, the judge said, carried a degree of premeditation and contained a degree of physical aggression and venom. The crimes had a long and lasting impact on Pell's victims, the judge noted. One of the victims is now a man in his 30s and has struggled with the emotional impact, in particular on his relationships. I take into account the profound impact your offending has taken on his life, Judge Kidd told Pell. The other victim died in 2014 from accidental heroin overdose. He is not known to have ever spoken of the offending, but Judge Kidd said the impact on him would also have been profound. Judge Kidd said at the time Pell, as Archbishop, occupied a position of trust over the boys, and that his crimes represented a grave breach of trust. He even Pope, the election of Pope Francis, or let's say the nomination of Pope Francis as the new Pope of the holy in inverted commas, right? In quote, Holy Roman Catholic Church. Okay, Cardinal George Pell was a prospect of becoming Pope of Vatican. It was discussed here, and that was when, okay, shit hits the fan, because people started coming out and protesting against him. Okay, and it was a done deal for him at that point. Okay, so Judge Kidd said at the time Pell was Archbishop, occupied a position of trust over the boys, and that his crimes represented a grave breach of trust. He abused his position of power to prey on the most vulnerable within the cathedral, who were 13-year-old choir boys. So publicly vilified figure. Judge Kidd has acknowledged he must sentence Pell in a unique context. Given his profile in the church, you are a figure of significant interest to those of the Catholic faith, he said. So yeah, when are you gonna learn, people of the Catholic faith? When are you gonna learn? Okay. When are you gonna learn? How many of these people need to be exposed before you know that your faith is nothing more than a belief, okay, made by humans? It's just a human doctrine, okay, the God deception, okay. So your figure of significant interest to those of the Catholic faith, he said. Okay. The media focus on Pell's case was extraordinary, he said, and that it was fair to say the cardinal is considered by some as a publicly vilified figure. Judge Kidd slammed the witch hunt that had taken place since Pell was convicted, and that he utterly condemns such behavior. The court stands as a bulwark against such irresponsible behavior, he said. Judge Kidd said he could only sentence Pell based on crimes he committed, and he could not be made a scapegoat for the church's failings. So yeah, there we go. The church's failings. So everyone knows that the church has failed. Okay. But yeah, people like Judge Pell, Cardinal Pell are the face of Christianity. Okay. The face, the mask of Christianity. This is who they are. Okay. This is who they are. Okay. So he reminded victims of the crimes that Pell's sentence cannot be vindication of your trauma. Pell maintains he is innocent and has appealed against convictions. His legal challenge will be heard in the Court of Appeal on June 5th. So not until June 5th, okay. This is what I say, where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. So we know what's been going on. We know what's been going on. Okay. And this is not an isolated issue. This is not an isolated issue. It's been happening since the existence of the Greek civilization. Okay. When Greece came into power in 330 or 600 BC, they've always been practicing homosexuality. Okay. Let's do this. Homosexuality in ancient Greece. Okay. Images. Ancient Greece. There we go. Boom. Someone has barred this, but these are two men. Okay. Bestiality as well. Bestiality. This is what the ancient Greeks used to do. Okay. Bestiality. Okay. The reign of the phallus. Okay. Bestiality. Right. This is what you see. They have edited this, but he was reaching out. This one here was reaching out for the genital. And when you look at the ancient Greeks, okay, this guy here obviously has an afro. Okay, this guy here has an afro. That should tell you that the Northern Europeans, when it came, they mixed with the Africans, okay, that were living in Greece. Okay, Greek people have a huge amount of African DNA. Okay, the Y haplogroup is African. Okay, so you can clearly see the kinky hair on this brother here. This brother here, you can clearly see his kinky hair. Okay, he's reaching out for his genitals, but they cut it. Okay, they've edited this photo here, and I think Google is going through the phase of, editing so many of these things because of children. Okay, but yeah. So the Greek, they see the gay flag. Okay, homosexuality had no place in Africa. Okay, till date, you get stoned. You'll be stoned to death. Okay, you'll be stoned to death. Okay, so the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, okay, have what's happening here? So let's see. Ancient Greece and pedophilia. I'm not sure if I got that spelling right. Pedophilia. What was the spelling of pedophilia? Yeah, pedophilia. There you go. Boy. pedophilia. I don't think Google is gonna give me that. I don't think Google is gonna. Let's see. Let's see if we can. Pedophilia in ancient Greek. Okay. Pedophilia in ancient Greek. I want images. Let's see. Let's see if we find some images. But I know Google has gone through the phase of removing a lot of these articles. Okay, but this is what's going on. Onyx Stallion, Memnon, the Greek was black. Yeah, definitely, brother. Definitely. Okay, and all these the Spartans were black as well. But brother, you know what it is, right? When the Europeans, Northern Europeans, that is, came from the Caucasus Mountains or Caucasus region, okay, they came down and mixed with the indigenous people who were black people, okay, very dark skinned people, people of the Nile Valley. You can see the extension of the Egyptian, empire all the way into the Mediterranean, where Italy, Spain. When you look at all these people, they have a huge amount of African DNA. Okay, they have a huge amount of African DNA, right? They came in and mixed with them. Okay, as of that time, you see all the Greek statues, and they all have curly hair, which is an African trait. Okay, an African. So yeah, Google is not going to give me any information on that. I cannot find anything, but so yeah, all the images that I'm looking for, okay, I can't find anything now. Brief history of homosexuality. Okay, so I might have to go. Aha, there we go. Okay, so close this. Yes. So there we go. Come on. So these ads here are raping my screen. This is what's going on. This is ancient Greece. Okay, this is what they're doing. Get rid of this ad. Okay, Onyx Stallion, if you're here, okay, this is ancient Greece. Okay, and at this stage, okay, you can tell clearly, you can see that this is not black people. Okay, this is quote unquote white people. Okay. This was their tradition. This is what they used to do. Okay, homosexuality. They don't want women. Okay, they don't want women. So again, these are dark skinned people, and the Minoan civilization. Okay, we know the extension of Egyptians. Okay, black people. Okay, and then you have a pale skinned person, obviously coming down south and mixing with the Africans. Okay, but this is what's going on in the Catholic Church. Okay, this is what they do. This is ancient Greece. This is what they do. Okay, this is what they do. They don't want women. They want men. They want boys. Okay, this is what they do. Okay. This is what they do. In bed with the Romans. So in bed with the Romans. Sex in ancient Greece. Let's have a look at that. So yeah, my stream is PG rated. Okay, PG rated. So no kids allowed. Nothing exciting here, but see, there you go. Okay, he's got a hard on, okay, for a man. He's got a hard on for a man. Ah, this looks like a woman at this stage, but okay. I'll get out of this. All right. I'll get out of this. Homosexuality. Okay. Alien ancient Greece. Google will not give me any of that. Not gonna find that. I need to go into a website. Find this, not here. Okay. So yeah, excuse me, family. I did not mean to go this route. Okay, the roots of pedophilia. I didn't mean to go this route, but I just thought I'll point it out that homosexuality has always been part of the European tradition. Okay, European tradition. Okay, since the time of Greece. There's an essay here now. History of pedophilia. You can't put a date on that. You can't put a date on that. Are there any images? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if you're still here, Brother Onyx. Let's see. Let's see if we can go to the website and find and see an actual. They're gonna bar this now, but anyway, it's not loading. Okay, it's not loading, but you can clearly see what's going on here. Okay, he's reaching out for his genitals. Okay. And this is what Cardinal George Pell was doing to the little kids, and in some images, okay, in some images they were doing it with little children, little boys. Okay, when you see the photos of Cupid, okay, Cupid and all that, these are little church boys. Cupid is nothing more than the choir boys in the churches. Those are the Cupids. Okay, those are the Cupids. You know, those are the Cupids. Why do the Greeks always like to represent themselves, or always fighting naked or wrestling naked? Okay. There's this statue here. Okay, this is a representation of the ancient Greeks before the modern Greeks, before the Europeans moved down south. Okay, and mixed with these group of people. Okay, the Minoans, they mixed with them and produced the current Greek people. That's why you see them. They've got dark features and have curly hair. Okay, brown eyes. This is why you have this in Greece. Okay, because the Northern Europeans came down to mix with these Africans. Okay, that's why there's a book called the Black Athena. There's a book called the Black Athena, and yeah. So when you look at this, okay, this is your Cupid here, the Cupid. Oh, by all means, the Cupid has to be a little boy. Okay, the Cupid has to be a little boy. So so yeah, Google didn't want to give me too much information, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, You can go to Google and research it. The history of the Catholic Church. Okay, the Catholic Church rose from the Roman Empire. Okay, the Catholic Church rose as a tool of mind control over the masses of people because they were going out of control with the newfound religion. Okay, so the emperor of Rome at the time, okay, sat down and took all these religions, okay, throughout the world, compiled them together, and gave the world Christianity, basically, gave the world Christianity, incorporating all these pagan practices and everything else, i.e., Christmas, which is nothing more than sun worship. Okay, sun worship. Yeah, enough of that. I don't want my stream to be too long, but yeah, Christianity in Australia, the presence of Christianity in Australia began with the foundation of British colony. So wherever the British people went, okay, they took Christianity with them as a tool of mind control to make the people docile. Okay, God loves God said we should forgive. Okay, forgive. So they come conquer you, destroy you, kill you, and then they turn around and give you the Bible and say, "Forgive. Your reward is in heaven." Okay, this is what it did. So in New South Wales in 1788, so there's the establishment of British colony in Australia. Christianity remains the largest religion in Australia, though declining religiosity and diversifying immigration intakes of recent decades have seen the percentage of the population identified as Christian in national census decline from 96.1% at the time of the Federation of Australia in 1901 census to 52.1%. So in 2016. So I was even generous saying about 60% of Australians identify as Christian, but not anymore. It's only 52.1% as of 2016. Okay, at the time of when Pope Francis became Pope and when Cardinal Pell's allegations started coming out, a lot of people were put off Christianity. Okay, so now the population of Christianity or people who claim to be Christians is 52%. Only 52. So out of this 52%, trust me, only 2% go to church. In a sense, in the 2016 census, Catholics constituted 22.6% of the population. So this news here is going to further reduce this number here. In the next census, okay, people are going to be ashamed to be Catholics. You have to be ashamed to believe in something vague as Christianity, right? So yeah, Protestants, oh no, 3.7%. Uniting Church, so basically the Uniting Church is only 3.7%. So Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of Australia, and there are large growing Pentecostal groups such as Sydney's Hillsong Church. So Hillsong Church is a contemporary church which involves a lot of youth, and they had to sort of contemporalize it's sort of like the new faith. Okay, so new way of preaching, reading the Bible, giving it all sort of interpretation. Okay, when you can read the Bible for yourself and understand exactly what's in the Bible. Okay, you have all these quack preachers, okay, with covered in tattoos, preachers covered in tattoos, former drug dealers, preaching to you with their newfound faith in God. Okay, this is what a Hillsong Church is about. Okay, with new music, entertaining music and stuff like that. And I attended a Hill Church song a few times. I've been there a few times, and this is what it's about. Okay, people are finding identity. People are not strong mentally, to believe in self, but they'll rather believe in something so abstract like God, okay, which was only created by the human mind. So human beings give life to God. Right? Human beings give life to God. Anyway, so there's a breakdown. The Christian footprint in Australian society and culture remains broad, particularly in areas of social welfare and education, provision and marking of festivals such as Easter and Christmas. So yeah, we know all these pagan, okay, pagan practices, Easter and Christmas, sun worship. Easter is only for fertility. Okay. Easter marks, spring. Okay, spring, when everything comes back to life. This is Easter. Okay. And Christmas just signifies the sun going into hibernation. That's all it is. Okay. So yeah, I'll put a link in a description. You can go check this out yourself. But it doesn't look good. Okay, this doesn't look good for the this doesn't look good for Christianity. It sure doesn't look good for the Catholic Church. And yeah, big shame. Okay, big shame on the Catholic Church at this point. So yeah, so the news article, okay, in Google, George Pell, Cardinal George Pell. When you go to Wikipedia, you read a news article on George Pell. Okay, what a lot of people. So George Pell in Rome in 2007. Okay, he secretariat for the economy of the Vatican. Okay, that was his position before theology and worship. So these people, they don't do what they preach. Okay, they don't do what they preach interfaiths, Judaism. You can't have Christianity without Judaism. Okay, so sexuality, marriage, and bioethics. So bioethics, you have ethics about life ethics. Pell has received much attention for his attitude to sexuality issues, particularly homosexuality. Okay, and he's been accused for the same thing. So they're hiding behind Christianity and doing these kind of things. When installed as Archbishop in Sydney in 2001, he said Christian teaching on sexuality is only one part of the Ten Commandments, of the virtues and vices, but it is essential for human well-being and especially for the proper flourishing of marriages and families, for the continuity of the human race. So, divorce, gay rights. In 1990, Pell stated publicly that while he recognized that homosexuality existed, such activity was nevertheless wrong, and for the good of society, it should not be encouraged. He also expresses his belief that suicide linked to homophobia was valid reason to discourage recognition of the gay identity, arguing that homosexual activity is a much greater health hazard than smoking. So yeah, their ideas are flawed. Okay, their ideas are flawed. So yeah, so Pell's conduct, a number of criticisms of Pell's conduct and manner towards victims and perpetrators have been aired in Australian media and considered at the Royal Commission. His appearances before the Royal Commission were met with intense public interest in Australia. He was heckled from the public galleries. Pell has complained of unfair treatment from the media and relentless character assassination. Okay, so he's just crying boohoo right now. 2002 allegation. In June 2002, Pell was accused by a Melbourne man of having sexually abused a 12-year-old boy at Catholic youth camp in 1961. When he was a young seminarian, Pell denied the accusations and stood aside while the inquiry continued. The complainant agreed to pursue his allegations through the church's own process for dealing with allegations and sexual misconduct. So yeah, again, I'll leave the article in the description box. You can go read it for yourself. Okay, so I think I'm done here. I've long exceeded my time. Okay, I will stop screen sharing and come back to myself. Yeah, so I know I've been all over the joint, but yeah, you know, the Catholic Church is in trouble. Okay, the Catholic Church is in trouble, and if you are a black person, okay, in 2019, if you are someone of African descent, okay, and you know, despise your own African spirituality, okay, and you latch on to the European spirituality, okay, you are denying yourself growth, because people like Cardinal Pell are the faces of Christianity, okay, and you can look at the origin of Christianity, okay, coming out of the Roman Empire, which took over from the Greek Empire. Has nothing good. You can't trust a cocaine dealer to give you something good. He's only going to give you drugs. Only drugs. Yeah. Only drugs. You cannot trust the devil to do something good for you. You can't. So this is what it is. All right, this is what it is. So you should know that pedophilia and homosexuality stems right out of a common practice going back thousands of years. Okay, thousands of years in the history of the Roman Empire. Okay, so this is nothing new. No matter how you want to sugarcoat your religion, okay, it doesn't change it and make it a better religion. A decorated monkey is still a monkey. Okay, and the truth has been exposed many years ago, but people are so adamant to change. Knowing yourself, okay, is the quintessential part of being a human being. Knowing yourself is the full essence of your spirituality. It's not in any abstract existence of some entity somewhere in the cosmos that you don't know, right? Somewhere in the cosmos that you don't know. So yeah, I'll conclude my my stream for the night. Thank you to all of you. Elm City, thank you for joining the stream. Onyx Stallion, thanks for joining the stream. Dagger Squad, I don't know if you're still here, but yeah, the Catholic Church is in trouble, especially here in Australia. Okay, you can see the decline of the popularity of Christianity from 1901 till date, 100 years ago, from being 96% of the population to only 52%. Okay, and situations like these are going to worsen it. Okay, so yeah, free yourself. Okay, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Okay, and this is what religion does to you. And I don't care which religion it is, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all these religions. Okay, all these religions are all a form of mind control. There's nothing greater than yourself. Nothing greater than yourself. You, as an individual, possess the infinite power to do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. And it's not in religion. It's all about knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. Okay. In one breath, the Bible says God created evil. And in another breath, the Bible said God created good. So God created the devil, and then he created himself. You can't have that. It's confusion. Confusion at best. All right. So yeah, I am done for tonight's topic. The God deception is real. So yeah, emancipate yourself from this form of mental slavery. And in 2019, this is really appalling. Okay, this is really appalling. This is really appalling. All right. Thank you all for joining the stream, and I'll catch you on the next stream. Salute. Happy Independence Day to Mauritius again, and I'll catch you on the next stream, maybe tomorrow. Peace out, family. Take care. One love. One love. Know thyself. Okay. Know thyself. The power is within. The power is within. One. Peace out.